Approach what?
This lack of trust with power.
It's really scary because society's starting to destabilize because of this. I mean, I was talking on my show about how, I really come from a background of like political theory, kind of like thinking a little bit about political theory at least. And what you understand about the order in society, the societal order, is that it all rests on the authority of the state.
Nick brings up such a great point in this clip. We're going to watch the whole thing in just a second, so don't go anywhere. But his point is, the state has authority that we then submit to. What happens when society becomes destabilized? What happens when people start questioning that authority on if it's just or not? And what rises out of that? It's such an important argument. You need to see it because he's got such a genius brain. Whether you like him or dislike him, he's very intelligent when it comes to these things. He's very forward thinking in how things work. And he brings up some really great points. So make sure you stick around. But in the meantime, I'm Jared Wright. This is The Right Wing. And if you like this content, make sure to hit the buttons down below. Like, subscribe, notifications turned on, because I post these videos every single day talking about politics, religion, Christianity, and what's coming up in this world, what is happening. And you deserve to know what's happening. And if you think that, make sure you follow along. Let's dive into this clip right now, though. That way you can see the truth.
People are coming so disillusioned with the current regime, with the power structures. The lack of trust is stronger than it's ever been. That's why somebody like Mamdani wins. It's somebody that they feel they can relate to, somebody that's addressing their problems. How should people, or how should you approach this?
Approach what?
This lack of trust with power.
It's really scary because society's starting to destabilize because of this. I mean, I was talking on my show about how, I really come from a background of like political theory, kind of like thinking a little bit about political theory at least. And what you understand about the order in society, the societal order, is that it all rests on the authority of the state. And the authority of the state rests on two things: force. They have the guns. Why don't you break the law? That's the representation of the political order, is that there is a government that passes laws. There are cops that enforce the laws. If we break the laws, the cops take us to jail. So we all recognize, why do people obey the laws? Because the cops have guns. If you don't obey the laws, they'll kill you. But also, you recognize that there's only 1 million soldiers. There's maybe 1 million cops. There's 300 million people. So they don't have more force than all the people put together. So the other thing that gives the government authority is legitimacy. People think that the government has a right to rule. And
this is a great point. Where do we view the United States government in terms of legitimacy? Do they legitimately hold the right to rule? Are they legitimately acting in our best interest? This is an important thought. These thoughts are what stem great thinking towards what makes a nation great, towards what makes a government great for its people. Nick really dropped some great things. Let's just keep watching.
And that is what is being eroded. The legitimacy of the government.
Yeah.
That people believe that we even have a nation, that the government is fair, that the government is efficacious, that the Constitution, the social contract, is valid or has integrity, that the elections are legitimate. That's why they took that so seriously when Trump undermined the elections, because if you say the elections are fake, then you say the government has no legitimacy, then you're saying revolution is a mandate, actually. So when the legitimacy of the state is being undermined, they have to rely more on force. The less legitimate the government, the more tyrannical it has to be. And so that's when you see society start to come apart. It's the political violence with the left. It is the tribalism, which is breaking out. It's the conspiracy theorizing. It's even in the way that Trump is trying to change the census 5 years in, gerrymandering the congressional districts. Normally that happens every 10 years. Now it's happening midway through because they're just trying to squeeze out every last seat they can get. It's like, this is serious late stage republic shit. The way they're trying to get money out of everything, the way that they're just motherfucking the laws, abusing them to get as much power as possible. Everyone knows the system's rigged. The way they're trying to buy everybody off with welfare, it's like, this is serious late republic vibes, and it's all coming apart. And I think then the answer is Napoleon, Caesar. This is the
Rome.
Rome. It's all on Rome.
All roads lead to Rome. Ain't that the sentiment? All roads lead to Rome. And Nick brings up a good point because, believe it or not, government in a lot of ways is cyclical. And late stage republics lead to a dictator coming to power, a strong head force. And what's crazy is, this is portrayed as terrible most of the time, but in all reality, a lot of the times it's not that bad. Whenever you have a good dictator, societies flourish. Now, the bad part is whenever you have a bad dictator, that's whenever things fall apart, a greedy, corrupt dictator. And so the question then becomes, first off, how do you prevent somebody like that from coming to power? But second off, how do you handle transition of power, right? You have a great dictator, a great CEO, call it. If you have a good CEO in a company, somebody that runs that company perfectly as your boss, you don't want them to have to give up after 8 years. You want them to stay there, to keep going. So let's say they go for 30 years and it's time for them to retire. How do you handle this transition of power within government? How do you find the next good leader? Is it by election? Potentially, though people hide things to get elected. Do you allow your king to select somebody that's not their son? But how do you prove that it's a good person? How do you prove the son isn't a good person? That's where the real issue then comes out of it, right? I'm not necessarily against democracy. Don't misquote me there, but there is some good that comes out from having a strong central leader like a Napoleon, like a Caesar. That's what Nick is saying. All roads lead to Rome, right? Whenever they institute laws that are good for the nation, good for the people, you see prosperity. You ultimately do, like we saw in the Roman Empire. There was prosperity until you had a bad leader come in. How do you prevent that? But he's saying that we're close to this point. We're already seeing people squeezing out everything they can get out of this democracy. Trump, like him or love him, the gerrymandering I don't really like, right? And it's coming from both sides. This isn't just Trump. They each kind of do it in retaliation to one another, where they're trying to squeeze out as many votes as they can get because they know that nobody's really happy, and so they need to just make sure they can get as much as they can. It's not really a good place to be as society, as members of society. And so we're entering this late stage of the republic. And what happens after that? What happens after that when the republic falls? A strong leader takes power because people want somebody who unites them. They want somebody who will bring them out of their anguish and establish a strong force to lead them. That's how you get Napoleons and Caesars and dictators. It's the same with other ones throughout history, whether that's Hitler or that's Stalin, any of them. People like having a strong leader. And this is where you start to see the difference in a good leader and a bad leader. Though they're both strong, there's good and there's bad. So how do we dictate that? How do we change it? And, Nick is so forward thinking. That's one of the things I love about Nick. Whether or not you like his takes on things, he's very smart and he's very intelligent, and you can tell that. He understands the way that governments work, that societies work. Now, you may not like his opinions, but the facts he speaks are always true. You have to understand that. So I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you liked it. Make sure you hit the buttons down below, like, follow, subscribe, all of them down below, because I bring you this content every single day. I'm Jared Wright, and this is The Right Wing, and I hope you have a great day.